Episode 5 of the Humplik Happy Hour podcast with guest Mike MacDonald is brought to you by Canada's latest craze, dismembering body parts and chucking them in random locations. Here's hoping your body parts are exactly where they should be, on your body, and not sitting in some random box at the post office or at the bottom of a lake being gnawed at by hungry fish suffering from mercury poisoning. With that positive thought, here we go.
I want to get line drive.
Want to lose weight and keep it.
You are listening to the Humplik Happy Hour Show.
Canada is known for many things. The beauty of its vast natural landscape, the harsh winters, a passion for the sport of hockey, and a population of people who for the most part get along pretty well. It's also known for something else, being the birthplace of some really great comedy minds. Here in Canada, after 30 plus years of performing, the name Mike MacDonald has become synonymous with comedy. He's had TV specials on the CBC and Showtime in the States. He's been on The Late Show with David Letterman. He's been one of the top performers at the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival. He's toured North America extensively, and he's also been a writer on a long list of TV and film projects. I had an opportunity to sit down with Mike recently to talk about his life, his comedy, and some recent health problems that are keeping him from performing at this time. Despite a really awkward opening question on my part, it was great fun to sit down with him, and I hope you enjoy our talk as much as I did.
So, it's very ironic that I travel around so much, though, because I got turned off to traveling at a very early age because of my father, who was in the Air Force. He used to have 2 weeks leave every year. I always wanted to go somewhere on vacation with the family. Lucky us. I'd rather go to jail for 2 weeks, quite frankly. Thing about my father was he never wanted to take a plane or a train. It was always the same thing every summer. It's 5,000 miles away. Let's drive there.
You recently announced that you need a liver transplant due to complications.
Are we going to start with the bummer thing?
Yeah,
I thought this was comedy.
No,
Oh. You know what this is like? This is like in a club where they start with okay, it's serious, there's been a car accident, 4 people have died, let's have a moment of silence, and now here's the comedian. Oh, thanks. All right, so we start with, yes, I need a liver transplant, I contracted hepatitis C, for those of you who don't know, and
I feel like the asshole for asking it now.
Well, it's, you don't have to feel like an asshole or anything, but yeah, I mean, actually, I'm feeling pretty good because
you're looking good too, man.
Oh, thanks. Looking good is easy. Feeling good is the hard part. But
yeah.
I consider myself pretty lucky. I've been exercising a lot more lately and eating a hell of a lot healthier than I've ever eaten in my entire life. And checking out some alternative healing methods and stuff, and I'm not shutting the door on anything. I mean, I've met some crazy people and some.
So, are you getting health advice from everyone right now?
Just about. I mean, I've had some weird things on Facebook. I mean, Facebook, the whole thing virtually saved me. As far as attitude-wise, of course, I owe a lot to my own personal spiritual faith in God and Jesus Christ and everything. I want to make that clear too. But I don't. I actually hate being referred to as a Christian. Because although I do believe in God and Jesus Christ, I kind of resent what a lot of Christians do.
Okay.
I find it very hypocritical. But I don't want to get into a big discussion about that, because that's a separate issue.
Yeah.
But
I imagine your family too. Like you're here with your mom right now here in Ottawa while I think your home is being sold in Los Angeles.
My wife is unfortunately separated from me physically. I mean, we talk on the phone every night, but since this whole thing came about, I've been stuck here in Ottawa, which is ironic because before this whole Hep C started, my wife and I, Bonnie, and I had decided to move back to Ottawa to live the rest of our lives here.
Wow.
And the whole thing started with my father being seriously ill after a long struggle with diabetes. And he fell and cracked his pelvis. And, my mother phoned me and said, your father's in the hospital and it's pretty serious. You better come up. Which I knew right away that something was, seriously wrong, because the year before, my father had a mild heart attack, and they didn't even phone me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's something about that generation, because, my two younger brothers had phoned me and told me about it, and I said, well, why didn't they? So when I phoned my parents and confronted them on the phone and said, why didn't you phone me? And they said, well, we didn't want to bother you. We knew you were on the road doing clubs and stuff and doing your act. And it was like an episode of Seinfeld. We didn't want to bother you. It's something about that generation. We didn't want to bother you with these little things. What are you? I could have rescheduled the clubs. What are you, nuts? Of course you should bother me with that. It's not a bother to begin with, but you should tell me. I would have flown in. What are you, crazy? Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. And so when my mother said come and you should come up because your father's seriously ill, I knew something was up. And just before that, I'd been on the road for quite a bit, and I had a month off, and I was relaxing at home, and I noticed a little, and especially my wife noticed, I was slurring my words a little bit, and I dropped a glass or two, and tripping over the rug, and which was very uncharacteristic of me, because
are those common symptoms of Hep C?
I didn't know it at the time that there were any indication of that, but sluggishness and stuff, and I didn't have the most common indications of Hep C, like the jaundice and the yellow skin and stuff like that, but it was a certain indication of the disease on onset, that it was starting to reveal itself. And
that can live in you for quite a long time, right? And
the most popular way to have caught it would have been my
blood tests, or
no, my indulgence in intravenous drug use.
Oh,
but it was like 25 years ago.
Party favorites.
Yeah, a time period which I could have done without.
Yeah,
obviously, and again, not to get into the God thing, but I got to tell you, back in Toronto at Yuck Yucks, people written me off for dead. They said, he's gone. There's another guy going to die soon and overdose, whatever. And just one day showed up.
Now, did people in
completely,
So people in comedy circles were aware that you were partying pretty heavy?
Yeah, Comics of Toronto, they had written my obituary. They wrote me off. He's dead. He's gone.
Okay.
He's got the needle in his arm. He's gone.
Wow.
One day I showed up, gone. Completely, no more, cold turkey, boom. And they asked me, how'd you do it? No rehab, no nothing, no cold sweats, no withdrawals, nothing.
Were you a daily user, or were you just a casual type of?
There was a period, it was weird. In Toronto, the heroin, cocaine, especially the heroin, it was only available like at 3-month spurts.
Okay.
So we'd go for 3 months, and then you'd have like spurts of 3 months you wouldn't get it, so you'd double up on the cocaine and other drugs to get you by, and then 3 months, okay, it's finally here, and and we were really naive, like, where do you get it? Back in the 80s, we don't know where to get it. It's like, we only have one guy that comes, and we'd phone him all the time. When's it coming? And I don't know. It's just,
was this the dealer to the comedy guys? Or?
Well, it was a dealer to us.
Oh, okay. When you say us, who's us?
Well, to me and my ex-girlfriend, who I don't want to, go into, because for her privacy and everything.
Yeah.
But
and my legal reasons.
Yeah. And that whole situation.
Yeah.
But it was Sid and Nancy time for me.
Okay.
But not my current wife. That's for sure. My relationship before that, but. It was just a period that I could have done without, and it was self-destructive and everything, and that's why, like even now, I get certain comments on Facebook. Why should he get a liver? Blah blah blah. So it's like,
right.
Well, yeah, okay. So if everybody that shouldn't get a liver, that because of what they've done in the past. I'd say about, I don't know, maybe 80 to 90% of people shouldn't get a liver transplant.
Well, not just surgery for lungs if you've been a smoker for 40 years.
Okay.
Eating hamburgers.
Everybody should die.
Everyone should die. No one should get treatment.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm paying for it. Try to make up for it.
You're paying the ultimate price for what you did.
So,
it sucks.
It's like the same thing with bipolar manic depressive. What did took too many acid trips in high school, made chemical imbalance? I don't know. I'm sorry. Well,
yeah.
Anyways, back to the getting off the drugs and getting off the heroin stuff. No rehab, no cold sweats, no withdrawal symptoms. In the comics, how'd you do it? And one night I was on the road, and I never used to shoot up in the United States because I was always afraid of losing my green card and stuff, and losing my visa,
crossing the border with stuff.
Yeah, needles. Woo. So you used to just snort the cocaine and the heroin in the States and stuff. But
so you were touring extensively Canada and the States, right? At the time?
At the time.
Okay.
Like for the last, I think for the last 10 years, I've virtually 98% of my stand-up has only been done in Canada.
Okay.
Because I've always preferred the Canadian audiences. The States the States was okay in the 80s, but the 90s, they started getting a little weird, and then 2000. Once George Bush got in office, man, they really turned.
Really, huh?
Yeah.
So how so?
Just let me finish that, and
okay.
And then we'll get back into the American audience. But the guys who asked me, how'd you do it? And I said, one night on the road, I just, I prayed to God, and I said, I have no control over this. Do
you remember where you were?
Yeah, it was in South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Oh. I just I'd done 3 8 balls of cocaine.
I've never done cocaine. Cocaine, is that a lot? I'm guessing that sounds like a lot.
It's a fair amount. And let me see. Man, it's been so long. One 8 ball, just bang, bang, bang. And there was a couple of people, and we're sitting at the bar. It's New Year's Eve, and we're going, and I started hallucinating, I start seeing FBI agents coming out of the woodwork, and I'm sitting there going, all right, okay, you're here to bust me. All right, okay, cool. And I used to get so paranoid. Okay, well, you got me. Okay, okay, God. Oh man, what am I doing? Oh man, this is. Oh God, and I went back to the hotel, and I prayed, and I said, God, I have no control over this. You gotta, help me in this. And it was like a ray of light, and it was like, bang. That was it.
And this, how many years?
About 25 years ago.
No, but how long were you using?
Yeah, it was a good 3-4 years.
3-4 years.
Off and on, bang, 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 you know,
Okay.
off and on. And, you know, it was just the culmination of a death ride, you know. It was either like, you know, kill yourself, get locked up, get murdered or whatever, the people hanging out with, the people I was meeting on the road. And ironically, that moment gone, no cold sweats, everything. And the very next day, I had like a day off, and then I had to catch a plane to go to the next gig, which was notorious. It was a gig in Atlanta. I won't mention the place because people are still there. I think to this day, some of the owners and stuff, some of the junior execs have moved up to still run the club, but it was in Atlanta, and this place was notorious. They used to, I would go home with half the check because we'd party so much. They'd pick me up at the airport. They'd have cocaine in the car.
Oh, my God.
You know what I mean? And sometimes we wouldn't even check into the hotel for the first day.
Uh-huh.
You know? You do cocaine and then you do the show and then do cocaine and then check in the hotel and you sleep and then, you know, and do the second show.
So
you know,
was
the next day, you know what I mean? It's just like, it was insane.
Was it affecting you as a performer?
Ironically, I mean,
either way, good or bad?
The shows were a little more intense, but they were still funny. I mean, I have
Okay.
them on tape and stuff. They were still like, you know, yeah, because most of the time I didn't take the drugs before I went on.
Okay, so it's a celebration
You
afterwards.
know, yeah. So outside of that first day, there was like a hangover effect kind of thing, but I never took them just before I went on or like 3 or 4 hours before I went on. And the next day, I always had a sleep, you know, but I had a normal life, did the show, then the drugs, then sleep, normal life, do the show, then drugs, sleep, normal life, do the show, then drugs, then sleep. You know what I mean? That was the pattern. But, you know, trying to fool
How are you
myself.
still alive?
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Wow.
so, you know, and it all started because of basically, you know, like my excuse was, well, you know, John Belushi, Richard Pryor, they're my idols. Yeah, you know, it's good enough for them. It's good. Well, I'll convince myself. I'll lie to myself. You know.
Were they still alive at the time? I'm trying to go back in time. Like,
Well,
Belushi
yeah, well,
died.
Pryor was still alive, and it was just before the Belushi
Okay.
thing, and
Those
right
late
after
80s.
was
Okay.
and you know, just before and then right after it was like, well, I'm not going to go crazy like Belushi. I'm not going to OD like Belushi did. It was like, yeah, right.
And then all of a sudden,
Yeah, it was like, oh shit, I'm getting really, oh fuck, you know, I'm getting really close, you know.
did you ever get close?
Oh yeah, I mean, there were
gosh.
times like the freebasing period, you know, which was mixed in there too, and that got us through when the heroin wasn't available, and then thank God for the heroin, because the heroin came in and sort of like mellowed us out from the freebase. It was like, oh, thank God for the heroin, you know, because the freebase was just, whoa, man, that just
Really?
Oh, and it's just, the whole thing is just like, man, there's absolutely no reason for heroin, freebase, anything that takes you up in that intensity. As far as creativity, never written a joke on cocaine or
No.
heroin. You know, pot, totally different story, you know, debatable. I'll sit down and talk, and even with pot though, you know, I mean, the creativity, the first door of perception, there's millions of people in general smoke too much pot, they don't get anything done, blah blah blah. Comics, you talking, you know, that first toke, you know, that opens up the thing, and you know, I mean, I can have one toke just one, and write for 2.5 hours.
Wow, really? Huh?
Put on some great music and sit there and look at my notes and blah, 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 you know, and have, you know, back in the day, you know, like just last year, before this Hep C thing started, I have one toke.
It would open the gateway.
And have on my iTunes a prepared playlist of my favorite music, have my notes ready, you know, sit there in front of the computer, look at my notes, transcribe the notes into a file. As I'm transcribing the notes into the file, going, oh yeah, and I can also say, oh yeah, now I got this bit. Now, and once I got the bit and I review it in Final Draft, and I look at the clock and go, oh, that's been 2.5 hours. That's a writing session. Good. Now the thing is, I take those notes, look them over, and go, now the idea is, how can I perform this as well as I've written it?
Uh-huh.
Then you go on stage and you go, oh, okay, that wasn't too bad.
So how's that work at home?
That wasn't.
Do you
too
videotape
bad.
yourself? Or do you...
No. Occasionally, when I was doing a lot of road work, I would tape the shows, usually like
just an audio?
Friday or Saturday night, like 1 or 2 of them, and I would make sure subconsciously or consciously to try to put all the new jokes that came that came to me on stage, like the new tags and stuff, try to include them.
Okay.
On purpose for the sense of the audio. And then I would also have the structured act that I was doing, and to make sure that that all was included. And then I'd have that tape, and then I'd sit there and review the tape and go, okay, that's getting better, okay, that bit's developing, And I have the luxury of the style that I do is... it's the best of both worlds, I think, because people always, you know, they come and they say, oh yeah, you know, we were waiting for you to do this bit, and I brought my friends, and you didn't do it. And I used to go, yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. But I have these bits that instead of throwing them away, I keep on expanding. So when I come back to a club in a year or so, the people say, oh yeah, it was great. You did that bit because I told my friends, and you did that bit. But this time, not only did you do the bit that you did last, but you had 5 extra minutes on it. It was great. So it was like this bigger bit this time, you know, like the first time I did the like one of my older bits that a lot of people used to comment about, the remote control. First time I did it was like maybe 2 minutes long, but then I start really analyzing it and stuff. You know, there's more and more and more, and then it gets down to the idea of remembering all the different bits. But then sometimes, you know, there's a consideration of, if you're a headliner and you go on stage, you know, you only do an hour. So with the new bits, you know, those new bits automatically, subconsciously or consciously, force other bits out.
So when you go on stage, you're tinkering on the go. Like, a lot of it just... You have a rough idea of what bits you're going to do?
Sometimes, and then sometimes I go, well, you know, I'm tired of doing this bit, so maybe this time around, because of all this new subject matter, these bits are going to take a back seat. Okay. And then every once in a while, like somebody from the audience or somebody on Facebook will say, you know, I've always loved that bit about, and I go, oh yeah, I haven't done that bit in a long time. Or something will come up on TV, or an opinion somewhere, or some kind of thought will come to me, and I go, oh, that would go good with that old bit. I can combine them and I can weld them together, and now it's a stronger new bit with the piece of the old bit put together, and that all of a sudden that re-enters the current act. And that in itself pushes something else out to the back burner. You know what I mean? So it's an ever evolving thing. It's sometimes I use the analogy of what's that thing in the Karate Kid, the little bonsai tree or?
Yeah. Oh man, I know what you're talking about.
I'm not sure if I'm getting the word right.
I know what I know. Oh.
You know, that little tree that they keep clipping. It's the same tree, but it has new branches, and you have to keep clipping it.
I think anyone who saw the Karate Kid will know exactly what you're talking about.
But it's basically it's the same tree, but you keep pruning the branches. Mm-hmm. But it's the familiarity of the same tree, but it's the new branches. So it's something old, something familiar, but it's always something new also. So I think that's the best of both worlds.
So I know you've done a whole bunch of specials for the CBC. For Showtime.
Three stand-up specials that were co-produced both by the CBC and Showtime network in the States.
Okay.
And one variety special for CBC, which I don't quite understand why they don't play it again. It was a Christmas special. They had a couple of plays legally to play it, and I think they've only played it once.
Now, would you retire some of the material after it went into a special?
Well, certain material
just lends itself to time, I guess.
Well, like on the variety special, you can't really do it again because it's a set video vignette thing, so you can't really do it again. But I mean, I occasionally either think about it or I will watch the tape and I'll go, well, it still holds up and it's still funny. I wonder why they don't show it, because they show all kinds of other things. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure my fans wouldn't mind seeing it again. It just, it's a question of why don't they show it? Mm-hmm. It's there. It's done. It's not a question of it won't work. So, we plugged it in and then it just won't work.
So contractually, when you sign off on these things, I guess it's they own it forever and they can air it whenever they want.
Well, no, I mean contractually, there's no problem. Legally, they have the right to show it a couple more times without having to pay anybody.
Oh, okay.
So I don't understand why they don't play it, and it's still the material all holds up, and I still think it's pretty funny. And I thought it was quite funny. It was called Mike MacDonald's Politically Incorrect Christmas, and
I haven't seen that one. I'm gonna have to search it down.
I remember some of the criticism from the press was politically incorrect. It's over. It is. That was back in the mid-'90s. It was like, man, they're still fighting political correctness now. Mm-hmm. And it's just political correctness is something that we will always have to fight, and it always kills me. About critics. Especially in print, it's like, just because you have got to the point where you don't know what to say about it anymore doesn't mean that it's over.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like certain things, unfortunately for society, but great for comedians. And believe me, we would love not to be able to make jokes about it, or be able to go out there and ride that thin line between preaching and making laughter about it. But we'll always be able to talk about racism. We'll always be able to talk about misogyny. We'll always be able to talk about, to point out injustice and stuff, because it's always going to be there. And I think, I've had arguments in the past with other comedians. It's the old Elvis, John Lennon thing. When they approached Elvis and they said, what do you think of the Vietnam War? He goes, well, man, I'm just an entertainer, man. I just, I'd rather keep my views to myself. And, whereas John Lennon was like, sometimes people go, well, you're too political, why can't you be like Paul, But it was that black and white, like everything, the duality, the bipolar thing with me. The more I experience in life, the more I think of it's tension over result. Everything is the duality of everything. It's being a Beatle fanatic. You learn everything. And John and Paul together were great. separately they had their own problems. Like maybe John got a little too political sometimes. You went, okay, all right, enough. And how about some melody? But Paul got too like corny sometimes. Like, you're like, okay, how about some reality? How about some depth? You know what I mean? So, but together, they had the sweet spot.
So this lends itself to Daniel Tosh recently got in trouble for a rape joke that he made on stage.
I heard vaguely something about it. I didn't see exactly what.
I'm probably going to screw this up, but okay. What happened is he was getting heckled, and I believe he asked the audience, "Well, what kind of joke do you want to hear?" And someone screamed out a rape joke. And his response was, "Well, what do you like about rape jokes? Is it the humiliation, or is it the, went on with a few things." And then an audience member, a female audience member, screamed out, "Rape isn't funny." And then he, then I think it was one of those, and you've probably experienced these things. He replied with, It probably would be funny if you got raped right now, or by 5 guys, or something to that effect. I've totally screwed it up.
Wow.
Yeah. But anyways, he got in a lot of trouble for it. But it was in the context of being in a comedy club, doing his act. And now, don't reply to Daniel Tosh specifically, because I probably just screwed up the delivery to you. Yeah. So I don't want you to comment on something you've heard hearsay. But has it ever happened to you where... Well, first of all, hecklers, friends or foes?
It all depends. Like sometimes I've taken hecklers the wrong way.
Okay.
So I've learned after many, many, many years of experience to find out exactly what the heckler's saying.
Okay, so he might be a drunk guy, but he might be a super fan as well, right?
Yeah. You just have to really understand, like, what exactly are you saying and stuff. So with the getting back to the Daniel Tosh thing, now
a lot of comedians, most comedians have, defended his point of view because it was in the context of a heckler and trying to kind of deflect what was going on, and but a couple of comedians have taken a more of a high ground stance that rape is never funny and shouldn't be talked about. Well, okay, wait a minute. Well, neither is war, neither is murder.
Well, no,
it's specifically because rape is an ugly word, and it's
I understand what they're trying to say, that all this stuff in context and everything, but it's also what's the point of view? Yeah, rape is never funny, but rape as a concept of somebody who is the rapist, if the punchline is he gets raped and it's like, now do you understand why it's wrong? Mm-hmm. The fact that you're going to get raped, that you're going to go to jail, then and the end punchline is guys are going to be raping you, and you're going to be screaming and wondering, and now do you get it? How you shouldn't have done it in the first place? Yeah. Ha ha ha! On you. Then that's the content. Then there might be a laugh that everyone could laugh at in the audience, maybe. Mm-hmm. But right now, off the top of my head, I can't think of any other way to approach that subject.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So for me on stage, if I was sitting there going, well, what kind of joke would you like to hear? And some guy yelled out rape. My first thing with my experience now, like in the past, I could have fucked up and could have gone down because the way you explained it,
I probably explained it wrong. You'd have to hear it, and it's hearsay.
Yeah, but not going on Daniel, but just as any comic on stage, going down the path to follow that kind of path, you're following the wrong, because what makes you laugh? The humiliation. That is just an example of following the wrong path, because humiliation, that is like so superficial. That has nothing to do with the reality of rape. So you're following the wrong path. Whereas my experience now, if somebody yelled out, if I said, well, what kind of joke do you want to hear? And then somebody's yelled out a rape joke, my first response would be like, why would you want to hear a rape joke? What would possess you to think, you're sitting there going, what kind of joke do you want? A rape joke. What are you, sick? What are you, crazy?
So have you ever said anything on stage, though, that instantly when your lips close, you went, oh, shit, maybe I shouldn't have said that? Or...
Yeah, probably, but offhand right now I can't remember, so it must have been quite a while ago, so good that I've learned not to.
I guess that's experience, right? After a while.
Yeah. And
so going back to hecklers,
like if anything, I've taken something the wrong way, and some heckler said, "Well, I was just trying to," and then I immediately apologize. I've learned that it's okay to be real on stage. It's okay to say you're sorry, and it's okay to tell a heckler, no, it's okay. Like when a heckler says, oh, I'm sorry, Mike. No, it's okay. It's all good. And I have a habit of saying stuff like, when somebody says something funny, and I laugh and stuff, and I actually say to the audience quite a bit, I don't mind when you yell out stuff that's funny. And his joke is that, if it's really funny, I'll actually pay. You know what I mean? I'll actually pay you for it, and I'll send you a check. I'll buy you a drink, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if it's not funny, I'll actually hold out my hand. We live in a democracy, and I'll hold out my thumb like in Roman times, up or down, and we'll vote on it. And then you'll have to shut up for the rest of the show. You know what I mean? Because it's not fair to fuck up the show for everybody else. You know what I mean? And then if you keep on doing it, well, then it becomes a legal matter, and we'll have to, call the cops and security, whatever, and then you'll have to leave. And then when it comes to liquor and stuff, blah, blah, blah. And just last night, riffing with the comics after I judged the competition at Yuck Yucks there as a favorite, Howie Wagman at the Ottawa Yuck Yucks. We were talking comedy, and I love talking shop and stuff. And I was saying, I was thinking, really, when a heckler, you suck or whatever like this, well, sir, I respect your opinion, but factually, I don't suck. You know what I mean? See,
just right out.
It's your opinion. See,
right.
See, let's put it this way: you're a patient. I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
You've just come to the wrong doctor. See, I have all these medical degrees. I've been doing this for 33 years. I've been to the schools. I've been to the University of Yuck Yucks, Just for Laughs. I have accommodations. I have degrees. I have the Comic Genius Award from the David Broadfoot Institute. I have the JFK, the Icon Award, blah, 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 23 years in a row appearances. I mean, I have academics, you know what I mean? You've just come to the wrong doctor.
Right.
You don't like, see, I'm a pathologist. You want cosmetic surgery. What kind of comedians do you like? Well, I think Carrot Top's really funny. Oh, you want cosmetic surgery. You've come to the wrong doctor. I'm not the doctor to treat you. I'm sorry. See, I'm a very specific doctor.
Was he a comedian?
Huh?
Was this guy a fan or a comedian?
No, no. I'm just saying in the analogy.
Oh, okay.
This is what hecklers like. If they're going, you suck, or if they said, I don't like your comedy. Well, you see, you've come to the wrong doctor.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I can do. I can't change my act to please you. If you don't like my style, you don't like my practice. You know what I mean?
Does it throw you off though from your act?
Well, it used to. And being bipolar and stuff, it used to make me angry and stuff. But now you learn to accept it. It's like you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm not up there as a joke machine. You go, tell us something funny. Well, I have been to the majority of these people. It's just you. I'm sorry. I can't change to please you. So you've come to the wrong doctor.
I remember
You've come here expecting laughs, and you want to get away from your problems. You want to have a good time. Well, I'm sorry. And the best I can do is offer you your money back.
I remember having a talk with
And, you know,
Howard.
when it comes to liquor and stuff, then it becomes a legal matter.
Yeah.
Then you have to pay for your alcohol because, if you walk out and not pay, then it becomes a police matter.
Yeah.
Sir, you can't not pay for your alcohol, and if you become a disturbance, then it also is a legal matter. There's a fine or whatever. You can get arrested for public nuisance and not paying.
I remember
Hecklers don't seem to understand that.
Howard Lapidus was telling me once. He told me a story that some comedians will go on stage and they're killing. They're killing the house.
Yeah.
500 people, 300 people, whatever it is, full house, killing. And then one heckler will throw them off their game so much that they focus to please that one guy, but then while doing that, they kill the rest of the audience.
Yeah.
Because they become so focused at that. I'm guessing that a lot of comedians or younger comedians must go through a period where they're in the back of their brain they're not happy with one guy not being pleased, and they has that ever happened to you? Like maybe at the beginning.
It used to, and until I formulated the thing, and I've actually said on stage when I've been dealing with somebody that trying to explain to them how I can't please them and stuff, and the best thing I can do is offer them to give them the money back, and they have to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I've told the club managers and stuff, and fortunately I've been obviously I'm not as famous as a zillion other comedians and comics out there, but the few people that do come and want to see me. And they don't want to have these certain people disrupt the and for a large part, I don't get a lot of those problems, and that's why I prefer the Canadian audiences, because most of them know me, and most of them, the small crowds that do come out and see me, they are the crowds that want to see me.
They're huge fans of yours, and they're out. Okay.
So I'm fine with that,
So going back to U.S. versus Canada.
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay.
So. I have had times where I say to the crowd, when I'm dealing with somebody and the crowd starts going, and I turn to the crowd and I go, don't worry, folks. You know what I mean? If this is a taxi, I've turned off the meter. Don't worry about it. You're going to get the full show. This is off the meter. Okay? Just bear with me. Blah, 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 blah. You're going to have to leave it at that. Okay. And then when they finally leave, okay, folks, we're back on the meter. Here's the show. And they go, all right, we're back.
And the audience loves it because the guy's been kicked out. Because it's ruining. It's their, people work all week.
And then it's a high instead of like,
that's completely bummed.
Oh, God, I hope he's in a good mood. But it's something that I've had to learn. And it's something that as the comedian, as the host, as the driver of the bus, as the substitute teacher taking command of the class, I have to be responsible for.
It's a weird class, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables. I have to lead, and I have to, take them on the journey. I have to, keep them up.
So go back in time. When was the first time you hit the stage?
In summer, I think it's 78, 79.
Was it
Rotters Club? It was a club that my friend and I, we were musicians at the time. And,
so you're a drummer?
Drummer,
wow.
And he was in the band with me, and also a sound technician, and he turned me on to really the prog rock and stuff, and we still get together now, and we do loop technology music, ambient music.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And,
cool.
Yeah, it's really keep my music side into it, and we still play together. And he's in Toronto, so when I go to Toronto and stuff, I stay at his place, and he's really into the new technology and stuff, so it keeps me abreast of all that stuff. And he's British, and always loved the British music, starting with the Beatles and stuff, but he got me into all the '70s stuff, the Genesis and Gentle Giant and all that stuff, and really intricate. And of course, we connected. The first thing we connected was Mott the Hoople. All the Young Dudes album. It had the David Bowie thing, and then the T-Rex, and the whole glam thing, and it was an abundance of stuff.
So you're a huge fan of music. I wasn't aware of that.
Oh yeah, big. There was a point in my career where it was like, is it going to be music or is it going to be comedy? But the comedy was all the way through it. And then there was the big point too when I was still in high school when Annie Hall came out, and I said, "Man, I want to make films like that." I saw Annie Hall like 40 times in a row.
So you knew
when it was still in theaters, and I went. It was my first Woody Allen film, and I went, "Wow, who's this guy? Woody Allen, man! How many jokes can you put in one movie?" It was like, man. And then it won the Oscar, and I went, "Yeah, what do you mean a comedy's never won an Oscar in a long time? What? What are you talking about? This is brilliant." I dragged everybody I knew to see that film. They go, "Isn't this fantastic? Look at that scene when he pulls Marshall McLuhan out. This is the quintessential. Oh man, I want to make movies that have an impact like that." And then we had a thing where Stuart Smith, my friend there, that we do the music with in Toronto, that I've known for like over 20 years now, at least 24. Going back to math was never my favorite subject, but over 25, 30 years almost, and 30, 40 years. 100 years, let's cover it all. Just since the day I was born, I knew I was just, and manifest we will fight in the corner. The Hitler must be stopped, and okay, whatever.
So what was your first time on stage like?
It was amazing because Stuart and I, play in the band, and I'd always been funny in the band.
Okay.
And,
so you were doing some banter with the mic when you were playing in the band?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't a big step.
After the big band that I was in with him,
you guys toured, right?
Yeah, there was the long story with the band called Maple Ridge. It was just out of high school. It was actually in the middle. I was asked to be in this band called. Eventually, it was called Maple Ridge. It was let me see. I should have put this. The band leader was a choir director from Brookfield High School, and Robert Belanger.
Okay.
And he took a bunch of singers from the Fresh Outlook Singers. Then he handpicked musicians from the music department, the bands and stuff, the regular jazz bands, and And the cool thing about Canada, we had jazz bands. In the States, they had marching bands.
Yeah. Really, huh?
Cool, man. Canada jazz bands. So you handpicked some people, and
it's hard to have a marching band in a hockey game.
Yeah, and that's funny. Write that down. Okay, write that down. It's funny, and keep that. And or actually, I might write. I might write that down and offer you money.
It's all yours.
But I was just this guy that played in like these little garage bands, rock drums, hard rock drummer, and. I wanted to be like the guy from Led Zeppelin, John Bonham. Come on, fucking bang those drums. And he offered me the job as second drummer in this big amalgamation of this band that eventually was called Maple Ridge. And the three guys from the band, Rob Belanger, Danny Soulard, and I wish I could remember the other guy's name, but I think there was a third guy that wrote. They wrote this rock opera called The Life and Times of Louis Riel.
Oh, really?
So obviously it had the Canadian content and everything. And
you might want to explain who Louis Riel for the American listeners, because they'll go, what are you talking about?
I'm not a great historian, but Louis Riel was... I believe, if I can remember correctly, a native Canadian, Aboriginal, I guess you would call it now. I hope I'm not offending anybody, or hope I'm giving at least the proper. But he was a radical, and really a strong figure in Canadian history for the native Aboriginal people, and I don't know who to compare him with in American history, but he was somebody, that deserved to have, something about it, and and fulfilled the Canadian content thing. So we had a grant from the government to perform this rock opera across Canada. So,
wow.
So we would perform it at these high school districts, and we'd end up playing in these very popular high-density districts for the media and stuff. But then we'd play certain districts that were really obscure, and there was places out west that we went to that virtually had never seen live entertainment come to their high school at all.
Wow.
So when we pulled up, like, there was 27 people in the band, like 9 singers.
So you're talking weird spots in Alberta.
So Robert Boulanger on the grand piano, and then there's another keyboard player, guitar, bass, 2 drummers, me and Glenn. God, why am I blanking on his name? So Glenn.
I can't remember anything before 1990. God. So you're talking about 78 here.
Glenn, he went on to play with the Cooper brothers. Glenn Smith. God, I'm so embarrassed. But he taught me a lot of stuff, how to play, like, besides rock music, jazz stuff. He taught me how to play the chimes and a little bit of the xylophone and stuff like that, glockenspiel, and all kinds of percussion instruments. And we shared the duties and stuff on the percussion and drums and stuff. We had 2 sets of drums and everything, and we had a miniature horn section, trombone, sax, and trumpet, and it's this big band. It was like great. It was like camping out, like, for a year, on the road.
Oh, you did it. You did it for a year?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So the big black bus, old school bus that we painted black, and for some reason in the front it was in green lettering called the Green Bitch, something like that, or Big Black Bitch, or whatever, but it was in green for some reason. It was like the Partridge Family, but a dark version of the Partridge Family. And we had this big truck and loaded up with all these old A7 cabinets. They were really bulky, but that was the thing back then, and in the 70s. They're all this equipment and bitching and moaning. Everybody had to help, and all these politics. But when we went to these obscure little high schools that had never seen live entertainment, the kids would come out of there and they'd mob us like we were the Beatles. So here we are, like, 17 years old on the road for a year, like, and we're thinking our heads were gigantic. We were like, we're the Beatles. Look at the mob of us. They're tearing at our clothes and they're asking us to sign. They're taking, every kid has a camera. And
so you're 18?
17, 16, 17, 18.
Yeah.
We were like, music, this is going to be our careers.
And so it begins.
Yeah. And one time we were playing, I think it was in Toronto somewhere close by, and in Burlington or whatever, something really close to downtown, because I remember we went in downtown to see a James Cotton at a blues bar, and we got in. They didn't ask for ID, and we were going. We're sitting there and we were going, real black guys from Chicago, ooh, and we were so impressed, like we were holding our penises underneath the table, like we're 17 years old, we're white guys from Canada, real black guys. And we've never seen real black guys in our lives, like, And we don't say, and this guy gets up to do a guest set, and he turns to the guy, the bass player, and he goes, can you guys play B flat? And then the bass player goes, I was born in B flat. And it's like, oh, we're sitting there going, wow, man, this is amazing, But we only had time for like one pitcher of beer because we had to make it back to the high school where we're staying at in sleeping bags and stuff. And then we were, all the guys are sleeping in the theater arts room,
Wow, so that's life on the road.
Yeah, like for us. But because Mr. Belanger was like, you guys be back by 12 o'clock because the janitors are going to lock up the school and everything, And it was funny because they had a school dance going on at the time, and they had this trio. And me and Glenn, before we went downtown, we decided to check out the dance. We heard this music, and hey, let's check out the dance, And we go out there, and it's this trio playing, and they're playing Led Zeppelin covers. And we're sitting there, and me and Glenn are standing there watching and going, oh, these guys suck, man.
Oh, boy. Oh, here we go.
The big heads. We're sitting there going, we're Maple Ridge, man. We tour across the country, man. We get a fiddle grand. People ask for autographs, and they rip our clothes, man. Our heads our heads can barely fit in it. And we're looking at this guy. And there's this guy, this effeminate guy that he looks like a glam rocker, and he's on this little Les Paul guitar, and he's like, and he's trying to play like Jimmy Page. You're going, he plays okay, I guess. But, and then look at the guy in the drums. He looks like somebody out of Roxy Music, He's doing it. Yeah, he sucks. Yeah, he's okay. He's adequate. Yeah, we could play better than him, right, Glenn? Yeah, that's right. He did. And then we look at the bass player, and he's like got this Rickenbacker bass like Chris Squire from Yes, and he's got these long shaggy, like scraggly hair, like it looks like hay, and like that. And he's got this real big bulbous nose, and he goes, "It's been a long time since the rock and roll." And we're going, oh God, he's terrible. It doesn't sound like Robert Plant at all. He's singing through his nose. These guys suck. We should go up there and fucking show them how to play, man. We should go to the other guys. We should go grab our stuff and get up. These guys suck.
So you've become a pro critic as well as becoming a pro musician.
You know who they were?
Who?
Except for the drummer. The two guys, the guys that we saw that night, they were the last incarnation. They replaced the drummer like about 5 months later with Neil Peart. They were Rush.
Wow. Really? They've done okay.
Universal icons.
They've done okay.
One of the best bands in the fucking world. Universal icons. And we're sitting there going, yeah, these guys suck. They're going to go nowhere. We're Maple Ridge.
Oh, that's awesome.
Maple Ridge, who 6 months later busted, disbanded. Fuck you. Grant's gone. Everything. Maybe I'll do this comedy thing.
Oh, that's weird, huh? That's
6 months
life,
later,
though.
6 months later, the thing's gone. I go back to high school.
Man, that's humbling.
Finish. Go back to grade 11 because we split. In the middle of grade 11, and the teacher going, yeah, you'll never amount to anything, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be a fucking rock and roller. Music is my life. Can I come back to high school, Mr. Principal? Okay, you better straighten up. And join the basketball team, did no drugs, nothing, no acid trips, nothing. Okay, straighten up. That at the end of the year, the next year, I became the school president. They called the head boy and everything, everything straight and narrow, blah blah blah. And then I found out how politics were corrupted, made tons of money for the school and everything. And the teacher said,
corrupted high school politics.
Yeah,
really?
Oh yeah. When I was head boy, I the school president. I found out, I started looking at the old records, and I found out that they had siphoned money from the spirit weeks and the dances.
Are you really?
Ex-head boys and stuff had bought themselves cars and shit like
cars?
that. Yeah.
How much money are we talking about?
Oh, man, there was tons of money.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, and I me and the guy, head boy and head girl, and head boy, and we made tons of money off Spirit Week and stuff like that, and extra events and dances and stuff. And we cleared money. We paid back the debt.
Oh, really?
From all the other the past few years, plus we were taking cuts. We were making money, but we were paying off everybody. So we were doing it the right way.
So this experience with dealing with money, did that help you out in the future as a comedian?
To a point, but it taught me about the fairness.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's when politicians get greedy. That's when it's fucked up.
Yeah.
See,
this is at the high school level.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, in Canada, it's like we don't mind if the difference between, to me, just offhand, the difference between the politicians here and politicians in America. Politicians in America, they rape you for your money, but then they also want you to believe the doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're trying to help you. Yeah, fuck off! Don't try to convince me you're just trying to rape me.
Yeah.
Because I sincerely believe that if especially the Republicans, if they could get away with it, there would be no middle class. Everybody be working in a sweatshop, and the rich would just be going.
Did you find yourself getting wrapped up in American politics when you were living down?
I tried not to be, but my wife would just.
It's hard not to, though.
My wife would just watch those shows endless, and she'd be going, "Oh my God, why can't you people see through Mitt Romney? If this guy becomes, she wanted to leave the United States the moment George Bush got into office." Mm-hmm. And I was like always, well, let's get one big score and then go back to Canada.
That's funny. That's exactly when I moved down to LA when he was elected.
And I should have listened to her a long time ago, And then when I finally said, let's just get out of here. It's...
No, you did a lot of TV work though, and movie, like writing for movies and TV when you were down there.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a lot of screenplays and. Stuff which I still have, and I have an estranged writing partner. There are a lot of lessons that I learned when I was down there, but knowing then what I know now, I would have spent half the time. I mean, it was good that I went down there and learned what I learned, but it was just unnecessary to spend that much time down there to learn them.
How many years?
At least 18.
Oh, 18 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I would have cut that in half.
I remember meeting you in 2001, I believe.
Yeah.
We were at a dinner with Howard, and it was you, myself, and Scott Thompson, I believe that.
Yeah.
And you guys.
Scott's pretty cool.
Oh my God, you guys! You killed me. I got home that night. I felt like I had been punched in the face all night long, Yeah, Scott was
Scott's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Actually, one of your credits, I was going through your credits, and one of them I had to ask about. It was a thing you did with porn legend Marilyn Chambers. There's something in your IMDb.
Oh,
called bedtime stories.
Occasionally, that has come up.
I had to ask.
Like I have received checks in the mail, and apparently there's some guy with the same name I have that writes for porno. Oh. And
are you kidding?
Occasionally I get checks and I go, what the fuck is this for? And I send them back and I go, somebody
with the same name?
Yeah, somebody has a check coming to them and it's not me. And then I worry about, is he getting my checks and not returning them?
Oh, God. Oh,
because,
so you're talking about the writers' union type of checks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, boy, I've been, if I had a nickel every time they show me on TV or every time I've written for something.
Can you imagine this guy's getting, huge checks? He's like, wow, for bedtime stories.
Mm.
Well, that goes back to dealing with money and working in comedy, what I learned is you don't have one employer, giving you one check. You've got money coming in from all over the place. and a lot of people touching your money as well along the way. Is that hard to manage and to make sure that everything's up and cool, and or you just surround yourself with good people? And
yeah, I mean, I've been very lucky with my money, but what bothers me sometimes, and just recently with the medical thing with the Hep C, is I haven't had too many negative things, but the few negative things I have had, like comments about articles in the paper or my story in general, is comments like on Facebook, why should we donate to help Mike MacDonald because he hasn't been able to work, because he squandered his fortune.
People don't realize that.
Like you do, all these years he's been this high-paid celebrity, comedian, blah, blah, blah. I see him on TV all the time. He squandered the thing, and now he's asking for donation. In the 33 years that I've been a comedian, you can check tax returns. I think there's only been maybe 4 years where I've made over $100,000 a year.
Yeah. There's no comedy union out there giving you like health benefits and shit like that.
Yeah, and if I had a nickel every time I've seen myself on TV, that'd be great. But these TV things, they show them endlessly. They pay you like something like Just for Laughs. They pay you like $2,000 for the initial performance, and then they get to show them forever. Mm-hmm. There's no residuals thing. You get a check like 99 cents like every 10 years or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, or nothing.
Yeah.
They show them ad nauseum, but that's the deal you make, and I'm not bitching about it because that's the deal you make. But it's just the public perception of
that
they see you on TV and they think,
Lamborghini around town, and
and one of my favorite quotes that I have listed on my Facebook thing under favorite quotes is a guy told me one of the I'll keep it private. For him, because I'm not sure whether he wants to be known for it or whether he wrote it in the first place, but it's one of my favorite quotes. He goes, someday I hope you have half the money you think I have.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And when you think about it, it's like, yeah. It's the same thing, I get really annoyed when people say, who the hell does Mike MacDonald think he is, a celebrity? Thinks he's gonna jump his way up the waiting list to get a new liver and stuff. There is no jumping. There is no, you know what I mean? It's like the waiting list for a liver transplant is based on, the Toronto assessment team, where the transplants, that's where the operation is taking place, and they're the ones that do it. Nobody tells them what to do. They run the show. I'm not even on the official waiting list as of right now, as we're speaking. My second assessment meeting is August the 28th. I got to go down to Toronto. There's a series of meetings with a psychiatrist, anesthesiologist, a social worker. We have to apply for the Trillium drug insurance plan. Takes 4 to 6 weeks to be accepted. If I get accepted, to fill out the forms, applications, everything, the financial situation. If I get accepted, all these yeses. If there's a series of more tests. I've already had to do all these tests, and they have to analyze the results and everything. If I pass the other 2 tests, the blood test and the X-rays and stuff. If the psychiatrist okay, if the anesthesiologist and the social worker, the caregivers, all these yeses.
Oh, it's a real process to go through this.
Yeah, there's a ton of protocols and everything. Yeah. If they all match up, then they'll go okay. Yeah.
You're not throwing your millions towards a liver coming in from India.
then they go, okay, you're officially on the list.
Wow.
And then, only then can I go, okay, well, I have a couple of good prospects for living donors.
Wow.
You know, people who seriously, you know, I mean, God bless them. I mean, they came out of nowhere. But like one guy is a guy, comic, who, you know, thank God years ago I was nice to him. I inspired him to do comedy in the first place. And he's serious. He wants to donate a portion of his liver. And the liver is a fantastic organ. It regenerates himself.
Would you trust another comedian's liver?
Well, yeah. I mean, this guy is in perfect shape, non-smoker, non-drinker, same size, male. His wife's a nurse. They know the requirements. They know that they're both in agreement. They're both serious. And I'm sitting there going, wow.
The liver is the one organ that grows, right?
It regenerates itself. You know what I mean?
So is that how it works? They put a part of another liver in you?
They take a certain portion of his liver, put it where mine was.
Okay.
And it starts to regenerate within me, and his starts to regenerate back to full growth in his.
So for the rest of your life, then you'd have to take medication, I guess, for anti-rejection.
Anti-rejection, which has side effects, could cause cancer, diabetes, stroke, but you know, all kinds. So surgery is always a gamble. So that's why I've been checking out the alternative healing thing too, because I don't want to shut the door on anything.
Yeah.
But it's
maybe a combination of both.
Yeah, but it's a delicate balance. You don't want to wait too long where you're too sick so that surgery is out of the question, and then you die automatically. You know what I mean? But then again,
I know a friend of mine recently went through this. You may Brian. I'm not sure if you know Brian. We'll talk offline. But he went through a liver transplant. He was he's I guess my age, like 40, and he struggled with it, and I think someone passed away in a motorbike accident. He was saying that that's a common way of getting a liver is motorbike accidents, and it's been about a year now, and he's doing great.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's weird. It's a delicate balance because you know, I've heard horror stories on both sides, and I've heard good stories on both sides. But, you know, with the liver transplant, like the Toronto assessment team, they pointed out in my first meeting with them that there is the risk of, you know, when you get a new liver, that the hep C can come back and destroy the new liver faster than it did the original liver.
Wow, really?
And, you know, with the side effects from the original drugs, I've, you know, talked to doctors, and they said, yeah, they've had patients where it's come back and not only destroyed the liver, but caused cancer.
Wow.
And the patient has died within a year, you know, so, yeah. But then I've heard alternative healings where they haven't had the liver transplant and they've died, or they haven't had the liver transplant and they're still alive after 12 years based on, you know, acupuncture or herbs or whatever, or some, you know, whatever they're doing, you know,
the human body,
keeping track of their enzymes, and, you know, doing very diligent work with certain, you know, alternate healing methods. So, boy, it's a lot tougher than the bipolar thing was. That's for sure.
Is this providing you with a lot of inspiration to write about it? And does a lot of comedy come out of this, or is it just?
Not a lot so far. I mean, a certain amount, you know, like I wrote a certain amount, you know, for that night that they did the benefit.
You had a great bit about water and
the water and the salt and stuff like that, the low salt diet and everything. But I think it'll eventually come. But right now, it's just my time is just so urgent. Like, for example, I haven't had really time to have writing sessions per se, like I explained earlier, but I am aware of taking down notes and stuff about everything. And there's a guy that's interested in putting out a CD of stuff that I was doing like last year. And he's interested in putting out like iTunes kind of, people are saying,
digital release.
yeah, like doing blogs and stuff about current stuff. But I can't really do the blog thing because I need a catalyst. So it would be like, instead of blogs, it would be like telephone conversations with me, because every time this guy phones me, like the last time he phoned me, I did like 20 minutes on the closing of the Olympics.
Oh yeah,
about the music and stuff. You know, it was like it was hilarious as far as I'm concerned, and he was laughing like crazy. So I figured, well, if people had ready access to it, and it would be like a freebie, like an enticement to look at other stuff.
And you're gonna have Mike MacDonald shows from here, invite people over and do stand up back at home.
Yeah, but it was funny because when I was checking out iTunes, because I've noticed lately like all kinds of like old stuff that I was looking for is now available, so I could just buy it and put it on my iTunes.
It's pretty amazing how things have changed in the last few years.
Like the Frank Zappa, a lot of the old Mothers of Invention and the Frank Zappa collection itself just got released on iTunes, and I was like, oh, finally, and you start buying all kinds of stuff. And
I signed up to RDO recently.
Yeah.
And what it is, it's $10 a month, and you have access to over 1 million albums, but you don't own them. But you can. It's like leasing. You can listen to anything you want, and it's out there. And it's changed my world because I have my entire record collection from my 70s, 80s, 90s, all in for $10 a month.
Yeah, it's great.
It's weird how it's changed.
I mean, I love having all the songs that I've loved since I was in grade 3.
Yeah.
I love that, and I hate to be a snob about it, but sometimes I wonder. It's like, when I was watching the closing of the Olympics, when they had certain stars on, and I'm sitting there going, yeah, you kids like that? Yeah. I wonder if you're going to be listening to that 50 years from now. Yeah, you think so? Well, we'll see. Too bad I'm not going to be around, but, we'll see. We'll see if he's still like that. I'm going to light my life like it's dynamite. Yeah, we'll see if you listen to that 50 years from now.
Music has changed a lot. Well, how music...
He's a fucking poet, that guy.
Nowadays,
listen to the lyrics.
Record labels used to...
Man.
really market their bands, but for a long period of time, They used to work with those bands and develop them, and it was over albums and albums and albums. But nowadays, it's you market something real quick, you put out one album, and then it's on to the next.
Yeah.
And I think this generation they're not going to have that close relationship with music that they used to have back then. Like you and I. Just getting on technology, how has that affected comedians? Because nowadays, one thing I've noticed, I was at a show just recently, and there were like 500 people holding their phones up, recording video of the show. No one paying attention, just everyone with their fucking phones up. And I imagined, and putting it on YouTube. So, how does that affect a performer like yourself? Like, that your material is going to show up somewhere with bad audio, bad video, out of context. Maybe it's not a joke that's not fully developed yet that you're trying out one night, but it's out there to the world, for the world to watch forever. Is that good or is that bad?
The way you put it is terrible.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I'm not a stand-up, so that's why.
I haven't experienced that at all.
Okay.
I don't see that, and I would frown on that, and that's just not right. Or it's not a question of right or wrong. It's just inappropriate. It's not the. It would be like having a camera on somebody practicing music. It's like somebody learning a chord. Why would you want to watch that?
It's a different generation, right?
It's the snake eating its own tail. It's not really the abuse of technology. It's the unnecessary. Like I've always said, why are you climbing that mountain? Because it's there. Well, there's got to be a better reason than just because it's there.
Yeah.
Like why are you taping it? Because I can. Well, there's got to be a better reason than because you can tape.
You know what I mean? People are trying to capture every moment, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like experience the moment instead of just capturing it. Like the problem with the technology now, it's like the Matrix thing. It's just everybody's just capturing the moment instead of experiencing it. Kids are walking around in this bubble, texting, walking through life instead of being in life.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
They're just recording life instead of experiencing life.
Over the past couple of weeks, I've seen young teenage girls crossing the street while texting, almost getting hit by a car.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know?
So they're just accidentally in life, you know, incidentally in life, but they're not really there.
Things are changing a lot.
They're on the internet. Their mind is in this device, and they're talking, but they're not really talking. They think they're talking. They're exchanging ideas, but it's all blah, 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 it's all mindless data. You know, it's just whatever.
Yeah.
There's no realness. It's not earth. It's not natural. It's not earthy anymore. It's all technology. You know, it's. And then when you get into the spiritual, it's the nature of the beast. It's,
I'm wondering how it's.
It's the devil. It's the distraction. It's the devil. The easiest job in the world. It's like, fuck you, God. You favor the humans? I'm going to destroy everything. I'm going to distract you from. I'm going to distract them from you, and I'll do everything in my power. I'm going to give them sex, drugs, rock and roll, bright lights. And I'm going to expose the hypocritical Christians, and I'm going to make listen to the Christian music. Now is the time to go and listen to rock and roll. Hey, you want a pill? Hey, don't feel good. Hey, take this OxyContin. Whoa, I feel great. Hey, come on over. No, you must repent. You must be. The world's going to end tomorrow. Okay, I won't end the world tomorrow. See, they were wrong. They don't know what they're talking about. Look at them all. They splinter into a million religions. They don't have a clear message. I have a clear message. Have fun. Forget it. Here's the new device. Ooh, Ian texting him. They turn away from God. Worship me. We worship you, devil. Burning flames. We worship you. Double cross. I fucking invented that word, you idiots. Put the chip in your fucking hand. The mark of the devil. The in Revelations. The rapture. Too late for you. The boring Christians. The hypocrites. The priests that molest the children. See? Fuck them. They're all, hey, you're right. Wait a minute. The guy walking into the theater in Colorado, we need more gun laws. Yeah, distractions. We're raping the earth. No, I'm busy with the gun lobby. Mitt Romney, all these distractions. The devil going, yeah, see, God, fuck you. I've got them all.
Mike, you have to get back on stage.
Yeah.
You have to get back on stage, man.
You know what I mean? It's all a fucking distraction. It's all heading for one fucking direction, man. Yeah. It's just like every time they give us a piece of technology, it's like, just let us enjoy it, breathe. No, here's the next thing. Update, everything. Speed it up. We're all going in one direction. We're fucking raping the earth. Israel, they got a bomb. Iran's got a fucking bomb that is going to knock out the communication. And when they knock out the electricity, everything is gone, man. And the president can't even warn the subs in the fucking ocean to send the, and if Israel sends the bomb to knock out Iran, Russia's going to send the bomb there, and the U.S. won't even be able to respond because the electricity is going to be gone. And the devil, fuck you, God. See, I told you, I fucking win. The rapture. Who's ready for the rapture? Yeah, fucking end it. Oh, Jesus.
Mike, I can't wait for you to get back on stage.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for doing this.
Hey, my pleasure. Or what the fuck do I know? I'm just a fucking comedian.
Right after we stopped recording, Mike remembered the name of the other drummer in Maple Ridge. It was Glenn Bell. We Glens like to make life difficult. Mike wanted to apologize to the other Glenn for his brief lapse in memory. I'd like to thank Mike for putting up with my barrage of questions, and I'd also like to thank you for listening in. I'll be back next week with the one and only Remy Royale. I guarantee it's going to be an interesting one. In closing, here's a track called Eclipse from The Black Sheep, Mike's ambient music collaboration with Stuart Smith. See you again next week.
This has been a Humplik.com presentation.